Star Wars Celebration begins tomorrow, and as of this video going live, I will be in London for the event, so if you are there as well, then be sure to come and find me and say hello. With the event beginning tomorrow though, it means that throughout the 4 days we'll get new announcements, trailers and more for Star Wars film, TV, games and more. So with that said, I thought that as a gaming channel I'd go over my hopes for gaming news at the event. So far it isn't looking too promising as there are no panels or anything related to Star Wars gaming, which is a real shame. However, that doesn't mean we won't hear or see anything, because last year they revealed the Jedi Survivor trailer on the live stage, and Star Wars Hunters had a whole exhibition where you could actually go and play the game, though sadly I don't think they'll be there doing the same this year. So what are my expectations? Well, the live stream for Star Wars Celebration is actually sponsored by Star Wars Jedi Survivor, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we got to see some new gameplay footage at some point during the 4 days. Of course, them being a sponsor doesn't guarantee anything at all, as it just means that they're giving money towards it for the game to be promoted. But I think it would make a lot of sense to have something there regardless, as it's literally the perfect place to market the game, especially so close to launch. Now my next expectation is actually for Star Wars Eclipse. Now the game likely won't be releasing for a good 3.5 to 4 years from now, I imagine, but in an episode of the High Republic show a few weeks back, James Waugh, the Lucasfilm Senior Vice President of Franchise Content and Strategy, was asked by the host Christina Ariel whether or not we'll get some news on Eclipse and the Acolyte at Star Wars Celebration, and he responded saying yes, both of those things are moving forward. So to be fair, it wasn't the most convincing yes ever, but given that this is an official Star Wars YouTube production, I think it's safe to assume that Eclipse will be there in some way. How though, we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously it would be amazing to get a brand new trailer and all the rest of it, but the game is still so far out that I find that hugely unlikely, and instead I think we'll potentially get some story details. Where this will actually be discussed is another excellent question. My theory is on the Saturday at the High Republic panel at 1 PM until 2 PM. James Waugh is on that panel, and it says that we'll get to listen to an in-depth conversation about new stories in books, comics, audio and beyond. Beyond likely referring to television with the Acolyte, and hopefully gaming with regard to Eclipse. Now it does also say we'll get a sneak peek at Phase 3 of the High Republic, which could take place closer to Episode 1 than we have now, so I think it's absolutely possible to see all of this, and I'll do my best to be in that panel. Like I said, it isn't really looking the most promising with regard to gaming news, so the only other thing I'm really holding out hope for at Celebration is some kind of Star Wars Hunters announcement with regard to a release date. Ideally what we'd see is a trailer, and at the end they give us a release date for May or June, but that is hugely optimistic and I doubt Lucasfilm will want to release it that close to Jedi Survivor. Speaking of which, the live stream is the place that they'd show off the trailer, and since it's sponsored by one game, they may not want to promote another from a totally different company, which I totally understand, but at the end of the day it is all Star Wars, so we will just have to wait and see. So to summarise, I'm kind of expecting something to do with Jedi Survivor on the live stream, and I'd also love to see a Star Wars Hunters trailer on the live stream as well with a release date, but I do find that very doubtful. And finally, I think we'll hear something from Star Wars Eclipse at the High Republic panel at Saturday at 1 PM. Obviously, I'd love to hear about other games like the Ubisoft Open World game and Skydance New Media's game, as well as new announcements, but perhaps we'll hear more about them later in the year. There is a lot on the horizon for Star Wars gaming, and if we do hear anything at Celebration, then I'll do my best to report on the news as soon as I can for you guys. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay fully up to date. That is it from me today though, thank you all very much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.